You were made for problems. And the question that I'm going to be asking today is, what if you solving the right problem was the key to you connecting with the future that you were in love with the life that was pleasing and meaningful to you, with your professional purpose? What we believe connects to what we love, connects to what we do well. That's a professional. We all have a problem, and I'm going to give you the formula to finding out what is yours and how it is that you can enter into the world, because the value that you bring, the thing that actually gets you paid, you want to make more money, the thing that gets you more money is finding someone else's problem and solving it. Find someone's problem who has the money to pay for it and solve it, and you get money, like a professional. A lot of us consider the professional the person that's not only better than other people at something, but also like gets paid more than other people to solve a problem. I do. So finding the optimal problem that other people have, that you have the ability to help with. So that's actually one of the steps, looking and seeing problems, and they're all over. They're all over. Before we get into the formula of this, I wanted to share a story of three guys who they wanted to solve a problem. They were students. The year was 2005. They were students and also employees of the company otherwise known now, well, it's still known as PayPal. So these three PayPal employees who are students get together to solve a problem. Their problem was they couldn't get girls. They were nerds. They couldn't get girls. And so they said, well, let's just use our gifts and our talents to get chicks, because this is how it's going to happen. And found a way so that you can use video and get to know somebody. And as they get to know you, they want to go on a date with you, and it just makes it easier. And so Tune In and Hookup was born. They tried to get other people to use the program, and it just didn't go well. It wasn't until the Super Bowl in 2004, there was the wardrobe malfunction. If you didn't see it live, or if you blinked when it was on, or if you don't watch halftime shows like myself and many others, you missed this infamous moment. And everywhere told you about the wardrobe malfunction, and people wanted to find the wardrobe malfunction. But guess what? They couldn't find it anywhere. And Steve, Chad, and Jawad realized maybe there is a need for sharing video. Maybe it's not about tuning in and hooking up. Maybe the problem we're really solving is giving people an easy way to share video. And so YouTube was born. Of course, YouTube went on to be sold for $1.6 billion to Google. It continued to make them rich. And every day there are 1 million minutes uploaded to this platform. Pretty successful. There was a need, there was a desire, and they were able to tap into it. The reason I share this story with you is because sometimes we focus on the wrong thing. Sometimes we look at what we want to solve, and we're completely blind to what others are asking to be solved. So as we look at your problem, I'm going to slightly change the word to something that might give it a different connotation. I'm going to call it a puzzle. You were made to solve puzzles. That is what our profession is made of. Some of us solve puzzles where we grow things on farms, and others solve puzzles where we help people with money and structure. Others of us solve puzzles where we coach or we teach. There's so many different puzzles that need solving. And when we see them as a puzzle, maybe it's not such a burden to solve. Now, I want to alleviate for just a moment the idea, and then we'll move on from this, and I'll give you the actual structure for you to create and find and stay in the zone of the puzzle that you were designed for. let's do away with the idea that once you get this solved, then you can live your life. Once you figure it out, then you can have what you want. Once I have $1 million, then everything will be great. Once I sell my business, then ... fill in the blank. And my friend, if you are over the age of 30, you've already done this to yourself lots and lots of times. And I want to remove that trap from your brain because it's stopping you from being a creator and it's keeping you trapped. And it is that idea that it's the idea that the finish line is going to give you what you want. Don't you remember? Oh, when I graduate high school, then it will be great. Oh no, when I graduate college, or you know what? No, when I get married, when we have kids, when our kids move out, when I retire, we have all of these imaginary finish lines we put into our brain, and along the way, what we're doing is we're kicking the can of our enjoyment and our fulfillment down the road, and we're not letting ourselves live there. And what happens a lot of times is in that process, a lot of us have learned to survive and we learned to solve a puzzle, a problem that other people had, but we've never really asked ourselves, what was I designed for? Like, yeah, I know people will pay me for this, but what was I designed for? What was I made for? What makes me come alive? And if you're here, it's because you're being intentional. And one of the things I can tell you is that profit comes easily when you are in your zone of genius. Knowing your problem is a part of your zone of genius. And can I say it again? You are not created to be rid of problems. You are created to solve problems and to find rest and peace and joy in the midst of solving those problems. So now the question is this, okay? Since you were made for a problem, what is this whole thing about? And I would tell you this, the goal is not to get rid of your problems, but to find the ones worth solving. Find the problems, find the puzzles that make you come alive. And for some of you, just even thinking about that will totally change what you're doing. I had one guy say, help me to get this business just to a place where I could sell it. Then I can do what I want. So I'm the wrong guy. Guess what? He still hasn't sold his business. I've had other people say, I've got to earn this amount of money. And then when I do, I'll write my book and I'll do my travels. Guess what? Those people still are doing the same thing. And the truth of it is unless you find your problem, you are the one designing your own hamster wheel. The one everyone complains about being on. No one ever told you that was mostly self-created. So I'm going to show you how to get off. I'm going to show you how to get off. There is a way, my friend. There is hope. And that's what we are here to tune into. First off, we have to view this thing like the Russian doll. And that means that there are many layers to it. And if we look to the outer, we should be able to get towards the inner. And so we're going to start on the outer, and we're going to work our way into that nice Tootsie Roll center of the Tootsie Pop. So here's the way we're going, guys. Finding your problem means we're going to start with personality. Your personality does reveal a lot about you. Now, there's a persona in there. We'll talk about that as well. And that's the mask that you wear. We've put on a lot of masks. Then there's talents. Those are those God-given things that you have that no one else does, that can't be taken away from you, that just always keep bubbling up, right? These are your superpowers. Then we have skills. That's also a part of your powers. But those skills are the things that you trained yourself to be good at. And then finally, we're going to get to the moment. This is the place where it is fireworks. It is the moment within the moment, and it feels like time stands still. There is, within whatever it is that you do, there is a bigger moment, a core moment, a core thing that you do that is of most value. And our job and our goal is to find ways that we can expand that. So let's start with a personality thing real quick. If you haven't been to the School of Professional Design and check this out, this might be new to you, but it won't be that new. We have divided up the 12 personalities into 4 key professional personalities. And within these, you're going to fit somewhere within these. But I want you to think about it like a business. So a business needs visionaries. Then after visionaries, it's going to have strategists. Okay, the visionary has the vision, finds vision, dreams it up, thinks of a better tomorrow, thinks of a new invention. The strategists are the ones that are going to draw it out, poke holes in it, make sure that no one dies, or like they're going to give structure to it and give mechanism to it. They're going to say this goes here, this goes there. They're going to kind of manage and boss. Then you have the connectors, and these are the people within that are they're providing that human element, because sometimes in the midst of the work we can lose track of the people part of it, and connectors make sure that that does not happen. I'm looking here. I had another name for them, but we'll move on. And then finally, the pioneers, and these are the ones that are running out there with their guns and their spears and their horses, and they are boldly going into new arenas, finding new relationships, finding new ways to connect the solution that was created. And so you're one of these 4, maybe 2 of those 4. Okay, and to sort this deeper into the personality types, the visionary is going to be, these are the optimist or the innocent is another word for that. It is the explorers, and it is it's called a magician or a shaman. So shaman, so these are visionaries. The strategists are going to be it's the hero, it's the ruler, and it is the sage. Your connectors are going to be, it's the everyman, it's the companion, and it's the lover. And the pioneers are going to be, it's the jester, it is the rebel, and it is what is there's one more within that, but that's those. If you're like, hey, you're missing my personality, raise your hand or throw it in the Q&A, and I'll come back to that. But there's the people that are out there making things happen, shaking trees, making new relationships. That's who those are. The goal is that each of these has their own set of native places. So I want you to think of it this way. I have on my desk, I keep it on my desk somewhere, and boy, oh boy, have I become the professor of there it is, the Messer professor. I have these are redwood seeds in this bag. I take them with me sometimes in places that I go to. But these redwood seeds I picked up from the Sequoia Redwood National Forest in California, Northern California, wouldn't grow here. We're in Florida. It may grow, but we'll never grow a redwood forest here. We don't have that misty, cool environment that is perfectly suited for the growth of these giant trees. And the truth is that you may be looking and doing things that don't really fit who you are. You may say, oh my gosh, I mean, I'm a visionary, but I'm out there doing connector stuff or strategist stuff. And I would say this, you might be currently playing from a persona. A persona is who you pretend to be. A persona is a mask. And a lot of times we develop a mask. All of us have at least one. Many of us have multiple. A lot of times we will develop that professionally. We'll pretend to be someone else to get what we want or what we need. And if you're functioning from the place of the persona, you will survive, but it's really difficult to thrive. It's the act you created to get your food, bread, and rent. it is something that you know, and you know it deeply. And sometimes that persona can keep you from stepping into your zones of brilliance, your zones of genius. But think about the Russian doll, and then and let's take a look at that next layer of the fact that you were made for a problem. Let me go back here. This is it. Going into this part, I would ask you to look at those personalities. Then we just took a look at that, but then it's talents. What are the things that you have that are an unfair advantage? And so that's like that next Russian doll. And maybe you know that. Maybe for you, talents and skills are switched because you learned a skill because you had to pretend to be someone so you can get what you needed. And so that's what you did. So maybe for you, these two switch. But again, this is like the big Russian doll, and this is like the next level down. What are those skills that you have that you're trained at, that you're good at? What are those talents that you have? What are the things that come easy to you? What are your unfair advantages? What do you do? And I could ask you that right now. You have a job, you do something. What is it that you do well? What have you done well? Well, I sell this, or I run this kind of company, or I'm in data analytics. So great. I crunch numbers so that people can invest in properties properly. Great. I will say that you are not your profession. It's just like your profession is in alignment with who you are. It shows who you are. If you were born in another time, you would still use like those talents and your personality type in a different way. If you lived in a different land, there are different opportunities that would present themselves, and you probably wouldn't be who you are. But now we get into those skills, and the skills say, well, I'm really good at this. And by the way, just because you're really good at something doesn't mean you need to stay doing it. If you hate it, if you don't like it, if it takes energy from you. I'm really good at this. People want this. People need this. I get rewarded for this. That's the place of skill. But I want to go into the moment. Let's see. Let's imagine you were someone who helped people by helping them make decisions, or let's just say you help them to make decisions. You might say, well, my personality, maybe you're a pioneer personality. You're a jester. My talents are, maybe it's presenting, maybe it's working with people, it's getting people to pay attention, it's keeping their attention. My skills are, maybe it's closing, or maybe it's like there's a skill meeting new people, or finding new relationships. But the place I want to get to, and the place that actually reveals your genius, is what is the energy that you're feeling along the place as you're working in your job. As you're practicing your skills, your gifts and talents, you'll notice energy. Some things you finish and you walk out and you say, oh, I could do that again. I just spoke to a real estate agent this morning, and it's fun. She gave me credit for a big deal that she just got, like a $950,000 deal. She closed on the spot. She did it, and she decided she was going to do it her way. And she said, because I did it as myself and I didn't wear the mask, I just put it out there and it worked. And I could do it like this again and again. I could do this all day, in the words of Captain America. She got energy from it. It wasn't just energy because the success of getting a deal. It was energy from being self, showing up naturally in that place. And so I would ask you to evaluate, look at, what are the things that I do that give me energy? And what are the things that actually take energy? If you're good at it, but it takes away energy, it drains you, that's a zone of excellence. You're excellent. That's awesome. We reward you for excellence. But there's something higher, and it is a multiplier, and it's what will help you to thrive, not just survive. And that's your zone of genius. And the zone of genius means you did it good and it felt great. And within whatever it is that you do, the question is what is that core moment? And this is an identifier of you and what you should be trying to expand in your life. let me go through this for myself, just because I don't really have any live active participants in this part of what we do. A personality, I am a um, what am I? I am a shaman companion personality, and so in this world, this is like it's the visionary is where I would fit. And my talents are I teach and communicate. I can present well. I connect with people well. My skills, like technology, I run these things. But my moment and the moment of my where I'm alive is when I'm working with someone and I see them and they know that I see them and I help them to connect what's going on to a reality that's empowering. I consider myself a decoder of some of what's in front of people. And so it's not just teaching. My magic moment happens when someone shares a problem and I lead them to find the answer. I feel brilliant. I feel alive. I feel like I just don't know of anyone. I feel like the best person at the whole world. Like I'm at play and I'm at work in that moment. So in some ways, I'm a guide and a translator. I make sense of things for people, and I know that. So my goal in the way that I've been doing business, and as you see it here, is to expand those opportunities. So I get to do that more. I'm really good at making websites and marketing and stuff like that, but I hate it. It sucks my life and my energy. And the goal is to remove that from my plate. That's not my puzzle, not my problem. Side thought on that. Your job, by the way, if you're solving some of these problems that you don't like and they're kind of icky, find a way to upgrade your problem. And upgrading your problem looks like this. I hate building websites. I love coaching people. How about I go get a coaching client that will pay for someone else? It will pay me. I'm in my zone of genius, and I will use that money to pay someone else to build what I want built. That's what I'm doing. Coincidentally, that's what I'm doing. And so for you, how can you upgrade your problems, find a different problem to solve, and then outsource the the one that you feel like you have to solve? And there's an interesting place. There's a line that goes here that says, what do I have to? Yeah, but you can't because you have to do it. And I'm going to tell you that line of separation between you and the problem you were made for a lot of times sounds like you have to. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You really should do this. Here's a question for you. How often have you found yourself with the have to problem and you want to do this thing? You know, you should be doing that thing, or you're drawn to this thing, but no, I can't. I have to do this. How many times have you found that you give little effort or no effort towards the things you have to do? We're better than that. We're better than that. I've done that lots. I'm a perpetrator of that one. I know that I am. So here's some questions for you to get to that. And these are the questions that I just like. First off, out of these four things, what do you feel like you're best at? Structure, people, analytical functions, or creating? What are you best at out of these four? Now, digging deeper, we all have a function within each of these. And so I want you to think about the things that you love that are in structure. So structure has to do with information, it has to do with facts and figures, it has to do with accuracy. And there's a input part of structure where what is it that we feed in? What is it we like to find? What is it we like to look for? And then there is an output of the structure where it's like, what is it we like to stack? What is it we like to put in order? What is it? And there are a million different expressions of structure. And they don't all look like the person wearing nerd glasses working on Microsoft Sheets all day. It could, but it doesn't have to. Okay. But so we all have a structure. Some of us have, it's a relational structure. There are so many different ways of providing, finding, and researching structure. So I want to know what are the places where you feel alive in structure? What are the structures that make you alive? What are the ones that you hate? I hate accounting, or I hate emails, or I hate follow up, or I hate, what do you hate? What is the structure? Time management. I hate time management. Oh, I can't wait to get into that later on, by the way. People. What are the people things that you do? How do you relate to people? Do you like to lead them? Do you like to make them laugh? Do you like to comfort them? Do you like to teach them? Do you like to listen to them? How do you, like, where do you feel alive, energized as it pertains to people? Is it when you, like, some people are like, I don't know, they're not when they're away from me. Okay, but maybe you're writing something and you're by yourself. So how is it that you like to, what makes you feel alive with people? Analytical, right? This is finding out what's good, better, and best. There are certain things that you're analytical about, even if you think you're not analytical. There are. So what are things that you can analyze? Maybe it's the best books for that, the best websites for this, the best technology, the best business methods. And finally, create. What is it that you create? Now, we all create something. You may not draw or paint. Maybe you create music. Maybe you used to create music. Maybe you create relationships. Maybe you create new opportunities. I discussed last week how my wife sees life in new businesses, and she creates new business ideas. Now, she doesn't create the structure to you know the deep structure of it. She pops out business ideas. It's pretty neat. What is it that you create? We're all made to create something. Relationships. What? A clean garage? What do you create? Apple pies? It's so many things. There are so many things. Here's the deal, my friend. You are made to solve problems. You are here to put together puzzles. You see things in a way that no one else does. You have the perspective and the upbringing, whether you thought it was good or bad. It's exactly what we need. And so I'm going to leave you with the hope that you will seek this out and give yourself a thorough examination of, like, is this the puzzle I was made to solve? And within your job, I want you to look even over your calendar and over your day. And even at the moment, ask yourself, is this in my zone of brilliance? Is this in my zone of genius? Is there any way that I can either not do this or give this to someone else if it's not? Is there any way that I can upgrade my problem so I can do, maybe get something for doing this that I can use to cover and get someone else to do this other thing? Is there a way for me to upgrade my problems? And finally, I'm going to ask you this: is it possible that you need to rethink what you're doing, that you don't want that 5-year escape plan or 10-year escape plan, that you need, instead of building something you want to escape from, create something right now that you want, and determine you're not going to try to control time. You are the creator of time. You're the boss of it. You're not a manager. You're a CEO of this thing, and you're the CEO of your experience. And as the CEO of your experience, can you decide which problems you're a yes to, which ones you're a no to? The next step is to remove the bad ones, to plant more of the good ones, and to allow that to begin to create and generate in your life. This is the place of multiplication. You're brilliant. You're awesome. Bring that magic onto the planet. Go be unstoppable, and you will be rewarded for solving your problem. Until next time.